Hello everybody, welcome back to the shop. I've got an oddball project I'm working on today, but a friend of mine is into kayaking. He likes to load his kayak full of fishing gear, haul it across the beach, and go ocean fishing out of his kayak. A kayak is not very heavy, but when you start loading it down with fishing gear and fishing poles and coolers and what have you, it can get kind of awkward. So they sell kayak carts, just a little two-wheel dolly that you can put under your kayak and drag it to the beach. Imagine going down to the beach, parking in a parking spot, and having to haul all of your fishing gear and your kayak to put in at one of the beaches. Some of these kayaks are loaded down pretty heavy. There's a bunch of these kayak dollies you can purchase to load your kayak on and drag down to the beach. And I guess these dollies do help a pretty good bit. But we're going to try to build one ourselves. And ours is going to be powered. To build this cart, I'm going to use 1-inch PVC, a 1/2 inch aluminum rod for the axle, and one of these 18 to 24 volt power wheel motor gearbox assemblies. I'm on my Arch Linux laptop, so let's go ahead and open FreeCAD. I'm going to create a new document, create a body, and then create a sketch, and I'm going to use the XY plane. Before I get started, I want to change FreeCAD up just a little bit more. As I hover my mouse over the circle tool, you can see there's no hotkeys assigned, so I'm going to go ahead and assign some hotkeys real fast. I'm going to click on the Tools menu. I want to go to Customize. Under the category, I'm going to look for Sketcher. In the Sketcher category, if I click on the first tool, I can see it is already assigned with the letter C. That's not the tool I'm wanting to be assigned to letter C, so I'm going to go ahead and clear that out. Under the New Shortcut menu, if I type a C, it will show me if there's any other tools with the assignment. We can see there is a constraint tool that has that assignment, so I want to clear it out too. Now I'm going to go back up to my circle tool. I'm going to type a C in the new shortcut box, and I'm going to assign that. Now anytime I start a new sketch, I can just hit the C key and it'll take me to the circle tool, and it will work a lot more like Fusion 360 does. And I like that, so I'm going to go ahead and do the same thing for the rectangle tool. Find the rectangle, clear its assignment, type an R in the shortcut, and assign it. We can see we have a constraint tool that has the R assigned as well. I'm not going to worry about clearing it out. I'm just going to make sure my rectangle tool stays on top. Hit the close, and now I can just hit an R, and that takes me straight into my rectangle tool. All right, let's hit the C for circle. I need to measure up the hub of my wheel. This is the tire I'm going to be using for the cart. And we're about 60 millimeters. So I'm just going to type a 60 in, close, and I'm going to go ahead and pad that out. We're going to pad that out to 4 millimeters. I'm going to click the surface of that geometry and measure out this piece. That was about 30 millimeters. Pad that out. I'm just eyeballing this. I'm going to have a pin to go through this to tie into the axle. Here's the axle. I'm going to mark that up about 13 millimeters. Click the surface. Start me another sketch. Hit the C for circle and pull that out to about 13 millimeters. I'm going to close the sketch. And we're going to use the hole tool, and I'll change the type to through all. Now I need to make 4 holes for the bolts. I'm going to make these holes 6 millimeters. I'm going to click the surface, start a new sketch, hit C for circle. We'll type a 6, hit enter. Now I need to see how far out from the center to put this hole. Center the hole to the center of that bolt. 24 and a half. 24 and a half millimeters. I'm going to click the node in the center of that hole. I'm going to hit the L key. That's going to space it from the center line. I'm going to type negative 24 and a half millimeters. I'm going to close that sketch. Select that vector and we're going to use our hole tool again. I'm going to go ahead and make it through all. I'm going to hit OK. I want to select that hole and we're going to use our circular grid array and make 4 of those holes. Hit OK. I'm going to start a new sketch on the center pane. This is going to be for a pin to go through that hole in the axle. I want to make this 4 millimeters. We're going to make us a hole to go through this, and it'll go through the axle. I'm going to select that vector. Before I make this hole, I want to show you another change that I've made to FreeCAD. If we click on Edit and go to Preferences, I want to click Selection, and you can see the colors over here. I've changed these colors. I've darkened these colors up so they wasn't quite as bright. Then I go to Navigation. FreeCAD by default is set to drag at center. So no matter where you put your mouse, that's the center of where you're dragging. I did not like that at all. So I changed that to object center. So no matter where you right click on the screen, your object always stays in the center. And on the light source, I grade that down just a little bit for the light source. I reduced the intensity by half. Now when I look at this at a top view, it's not blinding and I can see everything quite well. Just a couple more changes I did in FreeCAD to make it easier for me to use. Alright, back into our design. I do need to change this to 4, not 6. That's 4 millimeters. Alright, we're going to close that. We're going to select our vector. We're going to use our hole. I want to change the type to through all. And I want to check this box that says symmetric to plane. That will make the hole go all the way through the part. Without that box checked, it only went halfway through the part. And there's my hub. I want to click on the body. I want to export that to an STL. This is what's going to hold the wheel to the axle. Open Bamboo Studio. I'm going to bring that in. This is a prototype piece. I'm going to use Bamboo's strength setting. And I'm realizing right now that I forgot a piece. So let me remove this from the Bamboo Studio. Minimize Bamboo. Bring my FreeCAD back up. I need a slot in the bottom. That's the wrong sketch. That's the correct sketch. I need to make this bigger. Let's see, 40. Let's try 40 millimeters. Hit OK. See, when I clicked 40 millimeters, the padding automatically readjusted, but that's too close to those holes. That's probably going to interfere with the nuts. So let's go to 35 millimeters. That looks a lot better. All right, on the bottom, I need to create a recess, and this is what needs to be 30 millimeters. All right, let's see how deep I need to go. Get my calipers zeroed out. 6 millimeters, yep. 6 millimeters. I want to create a pocket 6 millimeters deep. Now I'm ready to print. That part's going to take 2 hours and 53 minutes to print. Here's the motor and gearbox assembly I plan on using. I got to make a port to register into here. The axle will go through this hole. And the plastic piece will turn. I need a piece to register into here that can pin to the axle, because I want the axle turning too, because the axle is going to turn the wheel on the other side. Alright, here I am back into FreeCAD. I'm going to start my new body. Start my sketch on the XY plane. I'm going to make a hexagon base. It's measuring the diameter, so do 38 millimeters on the diameter. I'm going to click to lock it into place. Pad that out to 7 millimeters. I'll click the surface, start a new sketch. We're looking at 58 outside diameter. Hit C for circle. I like that. And we're going to do 58 millimeters on that circle. And 27 millimeters. We'll click this surface. We'll start a new sketch. This is going to be a construction line, really. Especially one handed, it's hard to get a good measurement on that inside. It looks like we're going with I'll do 48.5. Circle. 48.5. Do another circle right here. And so, only one line. want to select that. I'm going to use my array tool, and I want 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of those. Now I need to click this surface, start me a new sketch. Let's C for circle. Yeah, 13 millimeters. 13 millimeters. Now, that needs to be a hole through all. Okay, this is ready for the printer. So let's go ahead and design our next piece. $22 millimeters. I'm going to draw me a circle, 22 millimeters. We're going to pad that out. My calipers, we're going to run my calipers through the center of the tire. Boom. 104, perfect. And that's going to be 104 millimeters. So I want to click the surface of this, want to start a new sketch. Make a circle that's 13 millimeters. Hit the end, not 132, 13. Hit enter. We're going to close that sketch. We're going to use a hole. We're going to make a hole. We'll change the type to through all. And this is just a sleeve to go around the axle for the hub, for the tire, for the wheel to ride on. That's done and ready to print. We'll send that out to the printer. And we'll start working on the motor mount. For this motor mount, I need to know the outer diameter of the PVC. I know the inner diameter is 1 inch. So I want to measure the outer diameter of the PVC. 33.72. 33.72, 34 millimeters. I'll make it 34 millimeters, I guess. I need to make the circle for the pole 34 millimeters. I'm going to write that down over here. I also need to know the motor mount, because this is going to tie the motor to the pole. I'll make that 41 millimeters. 41. 41. I'm going to draw a box that can contain those two measurements. We can change this later, but right now I'm going 50 by 60. Then I'll make me a hole, put in the center of this block. This hole is 40 millimeters. I'll be modifying this as I go. Let's go ahead and extrude that out. We'll extrude that out to 58 millimeters. We'll constrain that. This box is 50 millimeters high, so I'll constrain the center of this circle to 25 millimeters. Then I'll flip this block on its side, and we'll do us another hole. That first hole's for the motor, this hole's for the pole bracket. Eyeballing this, I'm just going to extrude this down the side. I'll put a 34mm hole in the middle. Put some chamfers on the edges. And there's just a motor mount. Alright, let's get that to the printer. Let's see what I've got so far. Okay, here's my piece. Let's get that. Oh, it fits like a glove. Yep. That's what I need. Now I've got two options. I can put a hole in this and attach this to the axle, or I can put a hole in these and attach this to the wheel hub. And it depends on how this lines up with the wheel, if I can do that or not. There's the motor mount. It fit tight against that 1-inch conduit. Motor slides on the axle, or the gearbox slides on the axle. The motor registers right in the hole in the side of the piece I printed there. Fits real good and tight. There. Motor mounted. Because the gearbox is going to turn this piece, and this piece is going to pin to the axle. That way this piece is going to spin the axle, that way both tires will be pulling, but will be two-wheel drive. There's my wheel bushing. This project's been coming right along. Modeling these pieces up, getting them printed out. Still got a little ways to go. I've got to design a plate to mount the battery and the speed controller. I want to get a speed controller off Amazon that has a wireless remote. And we will be using a Milwaukee M18 battery. So I've got to 3D print the adapter for the M18 battery, get it wired up. I've got to get the speed controller from Amazon. I got to get it mounted to a plate. So when those parts come in, I guess we'll continue this project then. But so far, the last few days, I've really enjoyed using FreeCAD and all the customization it has in it. I'm starting to make it work a lot more the way I'm used to using Fusion. I actually think FreeCAD is going to be a good fit for me, especially since it works natively in Linux. All right, thank you for watching. Stay tuned. I'll be making another post on this cart when we get finished up. Y'all have a good day.